Go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everyone to our first Women in Business of the Year, our first virtual Women in Business ever. And we are thrilled to see each and every one of you. I'm Amy Bryan with the Columbus, Georgia Chamber of Commerce, and we are proud to be able to offer events to you all in a virtual setting as we navigate through this pandemic. This subject matter couldn't be any better with a balancing act in work-life integration. Obviously, all of our lives have shifted over the past 4 months, and it's important for us to be able to have an opportunity to kind of sit down, relax, and hear from someone that can help us as we are balancing our lives. Shana Young is no stranger to Women in Business and no stranger to the Chamber. We are so fortunate to have the Leadership Institute at Columbus State University right in our backyard, and they provide some amazing services and are great partners of ours here at the Chamber. Shana is the Executive Director of the Leadership Institute, and again has been, actually I think was one of our first speakers when we started this series a couple of years ago. And again, I want to touch on this series and how incredible it's been. We recognize that there was a real need, a real desire for women to come together to not only network, but to have the opportunity to grow personally and professionally. So I want to thank Shana for always being willing and able to support this initiative and to support women supporting women. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get this thing started. Shana, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy. And hopefully everyone can hear me fine and see my screen that I have shared with you and see my presentation. As Amy mentioned, we are talking about work-life balance today, which is really a myth. Work-life balance is really not a thing. It is something that, and I find it interesting, we were talking about this earlier, that when we're asked to give presentations at the Leadership Institute on all types of subject matter and all types of things dealing with leadership and work and business and life, I have never had a mixed gender group or a male group ask me about work-life balance. It just doesn't seem to be something that either men deal with or are willing to talk about, or it's one of these great things that gets left to us to figure out how to balance everything, to figure out how to do the emotional labor that's involved in making sure that everything gets juggled, as the great Dr. Seuss is doing in this photo. So instead of calling it work-life balance, I really like to just say it's really more about work-life integration. And how do you integrate all of these things that we have going on in our lives? I will say, you know, I think with the current state of the world and the pandemic situation we're experiencing, this idea of work-life integration has become even more integrated than it was before. So many of us are working from home, juggling caring for our children who normally would have been at summer camps. Now we're juggling caring for maybe your grandchildren because your adult children had to go back to work, or maybe it's all the things that that you're having to do at home that you can see out of the corner of your eye while you're also still trying to do work. So this idea of integrating our lives, our personal lives, in with our professional lives, if we weren't doing it before, we are certainly doing it now, or figuring out how to do it. When I turned 40, I'm about to be 43, next month. And, you know, I really kind of had this epiphany of the fact that I was unhappy. I was just generally unhappy with life, with the way things were going, with personally, professionally. I just realized that I needed to take some time to really think about what is it that I am trying to do, and all of these things that I am trying to balance and make happen as a full-time employee, as someone who really cares about her direct reports and wants to make sure they're taken care of, as a mother who has 2 daughters, trying to raise and make sure that they're taken care of. And it really started with a meeting at my financial advisor's office, which is kind of funny, right? Like, I had this epiphany that I can't retire until the year 2037 at the earliest. And like sitting there and hearing him say 2037, I was like, okay, then what am I doing? What am I gonna do until 2037? And how do I wanna be spending my time, personally and professionally? Where do I wanna be putting my effort and my energy? And it really made me take time to self-reflect and think about all the things that I need to do, or that I maybe need to change about me, about the way I was managing and running myself. I had to make some personal changes in my life, some big, some small. I just knew that some things needed to be different, and in order for me to manage my life, and in order for me to feel good about the work that I was doing and what I was trying to accomplish. And really, work-life integration, trying to figure all that out, it's things we get told all the time, but we don't necessarily do. And that is self-care, self-reflection, and self-development. Those are the 3 legs, if you will, to the 3-legged stool of how do you feel satisfied in this life that you have built and you have created for yourself personally and professionally. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you taking time to reflect on your actions and the things that you do every day? And are you taking the time to develop yourself in new and different ways? So there's a little video, and hopefully you'll all be able to hear it. We tested the audio earlier. So I'm going to play this, just 1, because it gives me a little giggle, and 2, because I think it really speaks to maybe some of our issues with our day-to-day dealing with balance and integrating parts of our lives together.
This morning I got up and got ready quickly because I had to get a lot of stuff done. I sat down at my desk to start getting my stuff done, and I spilled my coffee, so I got a sponge to clean it up, and I figured I'd take an extra minute to clean the whole desk because a clean desk would help me get my stuff done. When I was finished, I realized I hadn't eaten anything, and I didn't want to be hungry while I got my stuff done, so I went into the kitchen and I was out of cereal. When I got to the grocery store, I remembered a bunch of other crap I needed to get, and I figured I was already there, so I did my shopping for the week so I didn't have to worry about it while I got my stuff done. When I got home, I didn't feel like cereal anymore, and so I made an omelet and I did the dishes so I wouldn't have to do them after I got my stuff done, and then I went out to get some oil from the hardware store because my desk chair is kind of squeaky and I didn't want to be distracted by a squeaky chair while I got my stuff done. When I got back, it was getting kind of late and I knew I wouldn't be able to get my stuff done.
Uh-oh. Oh no. Let me see if I can get us back to it.
This morning I got a sponge to clean it up, and I figured I'd take an extra minute to clean the whole desk because a clean desk would help me get my stuff done. When I was finished, I realized I hadn't eaten anything and I didn't want to be hungry while I got my stuff done, so I went into the kitchen and I was out of cereal. When I got to the grocery store, I remembered a bunch of other crap I needed to get, and I figured I was already there, so I did my shopping for the week so I didn't have to worry about it while I got my stuff done. When I got home, I didn't feel like cereal anymore, and so I made an omelet and I did the dishes so I wouldn't have to do them after I got my stuff done, and then I went out to get some oil from the hardware store because my desk chair is kind of squeaky and I didn't want to be distracted by a squeaky chair while I got my stuff done. When I got back, it was getting kind of late and I knew I wouldn't be able to get my stuff done today, so I started watching the Twilight Zone marathon on TV. I just have to make sure I get to bed early because I want to be well rested tomorrow so I can get my stuff done.
I think so many days, so many times, that particular little video is us, right? I mean, that's your brain. That is really it telling you all the things you need to do instead of doing the things that are in front of you, or all the things you should do instead of doing the things that are in front of you that need to get done. And being, I think, at home and working from home, as many of us have been and many of us still are, and may continue to be, you know, anything out of the corner of your eye, anything in your eyesight, you're thinking, oh, let me go do that instead of doing this thing, or let me just run over here and take care of that, and then I'll come back to this. So much easier to be distracted, I find, for myself when I'm at home. And especially when my kids are there with me. Maybe it'll be different if they go back to school and we still continue to work from home, but it can be a distraction. So something I want you to think about is what's important to you, who is important to you, okay? And I want you to take a few minutes and write this down. Find a little piece of paper where you're at your desk, and a little pen, and I want you to take a few minutes here, and I want you to think about what's important to you and who's important to you, and write that down. And if anyone's willing to share, feel free to type in the chat the what and the who is important to you. If you want to share with us, or if you want that just to be the place where you're writing it down. But what's important to you and who's important to you. Okay, see a few coming in. The what's are faith and peace. The who's are family. Okay, so now that you've written down, and continue to keep writing if you're writing, the what and the who's important to you, I want you to take that list and assign a percentage of how much time you actually spend on those particular priorities, the what's and the who's of your life. How much time are you spending on finding peace for yourself? How much time are you spending with your family or with your children? How much time are you spending on your faith if you think that this is a value of yours and something that's important to you? So just assign a rough percentage of how much time you'd like to spend or you are spending on each of these priorities if you could. All right, so now that you have assigned at least a rough percentage on where you're spending your time on these things that are important to you. I want you to actually take out your calendar. So pull out your phone, click over to the other screen where your calendar's already up, pull out your handwritten calendar if you still prefer to do the old school way and you still write everything down. Wherever you keep your to-do list or your list of appointments, things that need to get done, wherever that is. Okay, so pull that out. And I want you to look back over the last month or so and see how much time you're actually spending on these things that you just said were a priority for you, that were a value for you, and that meant something to you. How much time are you really spending on these things that you said were important? If nothing else, I think what you will find is that you're not spending as much time on the things that you say matter to you the most. And I always find it interesting when we ask people, you know, what are your values or what's most important to you? And I realize most of us are working because we have to, or we need to, or to maintain the lifestyle we currently have, or to simply provide for our families, making ends meet, whatever it may be. Or you work because you truly enjoy it and you enjoy what you do and you spend time at it. But it doesn't normally rise to the top of things that we say we value and we really care about and we want to spend time doing. So I want you to think about something. How you spend your time is a direct reflection of your true values and your priorities. So I want you to think about what you wrote down as a value and a priority, and then think about where you're actually spending your time. I'll give you an example. I know I should exercise. I don't. I say I want to, but I don't make time for it. I don't do it. If I really valued it, if I really wanted to do it, I would make the time. We make time for the things that we really care about. I make time for my kids. I know that that is important. I know that I need to do that. And sometimes, yes, I literally do have to block out my calendar and make the time for them, so that I don't schedule, or that somebody else doesn't schedule on my behalf, something in a space that should be time for them. So as you are going through the rest of our presentation, and just really for the rest of the day, just really reflect on where you're spending your time, and can you better align the percentages of time you're spending in different places. If you really value exercise and you really care about it, you will make the time for it. You know, I love my friends. I have some of the best friends in the world, but I don't see them very often. I love them, but I don't make time to see them. And maybe I should. Like I said, I'm almost 43. Maybe that needs to be something that I make a priority in my life. Maybe we do need to be spending more time together than we do. I can come up with every excuse in the world for why I don't do it. Oh, I'm a single mom. I have my kids. I have work. I have this. I have that. I have all of these things. But if I really wanted to do it, I would do it. And so I need to make sure that I'm taking the time and really thinking about where and how I'm spending my time. And if I really want to have true balance and true joy in my life, I may need to make some adjustments there. It doesn't mean I don't come into work, but maybe I actually use my vacation days. There are people, you've earned those vacation days. You have earned them. You should use them so that you can spend time with those that you love and those that love you. So how do you prioritize conflicting priorities? Especially when it comes to work-life integration. How do you prioritize? We say all the time, if everything's important, then nothing's important. And that's the truth. If everything is important, then nothing is important. You can't give every email in your inbox a star because it needs your attention. If everything has a star, then there's nothing that is rising above. It's all just stuff that needs to be done. So take some time when you're thinking about your work and your life and what is truly important to you. Think about these questions. What is your goal? What are you trying to accomplish or do with your life? What is the overriding vision or belief or meaning that you have about what life is all about and what you want it to be? When you think about your life and your time and where you spend it, what is your overriding for vision or belief there of what you want your life to be? The reason I want you to think about these things is this goal, this big picture view, is going to give you meaning. It's going to give you motivation and direction for your life. It should be your baseline. It should be your springboard. It should be your landing place for all of life's challenges and choices and surprises. And that comes down to prioritizing tasks at work. You can use the exact same process. You know, what's the goal? What are you trying to accomplish? And that should help you better prioritize your work task. What's the overriding vision for your department or your organization? Why do you exist? What is the reason for being there? And then look at the work that needs to be done. That being able to answer these two questions about your life in general and about work as well will help you learn how to better prioritize what needs to come first, because everything can't be important. If everything is important, then really what you're saying is nothing is important. You need to let some things rise to the top, and some things need your attention in order to give you satisfaction at home and in the work you're doing there, and satisfaction in your work life as well. So we talked about these at the beginning, but self-care, these self-titled slides, self-care. You have to take care of yourself first. And I know we've all seen this little sticky note here. Put on your own oxygen mask first, whether it's on the plane or at home or anywhere else in life. You have to put your oxygen mask on first before you can start saving everyone else. And here's something else. Even God rested, okay? Even God took a day off, all right? So don't feel guilty and guilt yourself. I know I do that. I feel when I sit at home and I'm like trying to watch a show on Netflix or whatever, and I think, oh, you know, I could really be cleaning the bathrooms right now, or I could send out emails right now while I'm sitting here, or, you know, I could run the kids to go do this, or run the kids to go do that. And I have to stop myself to say, you know what, no, it's okay to have this day to rest and not do anything. If you are not getting enough sleep, and the importance of sleep, I'm talking like 7 to 9 hours. The importance of sleep, if you can't think of it as just the fact that you need that much sleep, sleep influences your decision quality. And if you are not well rested, you generally make poor decisions. And if you're making poor decisions, you tend to delegate less. When you don't have enough rest, and you haven't had time to really think things through, then you tend to just say, oh, I'll just do it myself, rather than delegating. At work and at home, you think, oh, all these dishes in the sink, I'll just do them myself. I know it's my kid's chore. I know I told them to do it, but if I just get in there and do it right now, then it'll be fine. It won't be fine because you're teaching everybody in your life that if they can wait you out, if they wait you out long enough, you'll just do it. And that goes for people at work and at home. If I just wait long enough, Mom will step in here and do this. Or if I just wait long enough, I know Shana will step in and just take care of it because it's been sitting here long enough and she's walked by it long enough, and she'll just do whatever it is that needs to be done. Resist the urge to just step in and do it, okay? The reason that you delegate tasks at home and at work is to develop others. And that is the primary focus of leadership. Leadership is about developing other people. And if you aren't delegating tasks in order to develop those around you, if you're just doing everything yourself, then nobody's learning anything. Nobody at home is learning how to take care of themselves and be self-sufficient, so then when it comes time for them to move on and move out, that they'll be able to do things on their own. And nobody in the office is learning how to become self-sufficient and maybe do things better than you did them. I'm saying there are people in your office who may know how to do things better than you, okay? Just sit with that for a minute. Let them do it. They are there because they want to learn. At work, if you're doing all the work, you're just paying a bunch of people to sit around and watch you do the work. Who's helping in that? Who's learning in that? So delegation is so important and really needs to be something that we're all getting better at. And understanding that people aren't going to do it the way you do it. And that's okay. Yes, I let my kids put their own clothes away. They do their own laundry. Do they put their clothes away in the drawers like they probably should? I'm going to go with no, okay? Because I've seen clothes pulled out in the morning to wear to school that are nice and wrinkled. And you know what I say? That's on you. You decide to shove your stuff in the drawer and make it all wrinkly. You can wear it out of the house like that because mama's not putting in the extra effort. The next time you want to wear that shirt and you pull it out and it's all wrinkled, maybe you'll think about, maybe you should hang it up next time. Maybe you should fold it more neatly before you put it away, and give them something to think about. I mean, the importance of you taking care of yourself, being rested, and making good quality decisions, allowing things at work to be delegated to those who can certainly handle it, will allow for you to be the best version of you that you can be. Here's something else to think about. People prefer electric shock to being left alone with their thoughts for 15 minutes. Just want you to think about that. 76 in a study that was done, and I didn't write down where it was from, and I should have, but 76% of men chose electric shock and 25% of women chose electric shock over being alone with their own thoughts for 15 minutes. That is crazy. But if you think about it, we're all connected all the time, just sitting in a room without your phone, without any kind of distraction, with just your own thoughts for 15 minutes. I bet it does start to seem like a long time. And you really need the time to turn your brain off. Downtime, being off of your phone, just sitting and being present with your thoughts is how your brain recovers. And it's hard to be resilient when you feel run down all the time. So if you're not getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, if you're not delegating, if you're doing everything yourself, if you're not taking time to sit in your own thoughts, then you're probably not as resilient as you could be, especially in a time like this. You probably feel pretty run down. And just remember, your company culture is your company's immune system. And the same for your home. People who burn out, act out. Okay? People who are feeling burnt out, act out. And when you are exhausted, you are the worst version of yourself. You become more reactive, you become less creative, and you make bad decisions. So you need to make sure that you are keeping up your immune health, okay? The culture of your home, the culture of your organization, so that you don't personally burn out, and try to recognize when those around you are burning out and tell them to take a day off, take a vacation day, get some rest, have some time to really recharge those batteries. And that means digital detox, stay away from your phone, resist looking at your phone the very first thing in the morning. If you reach over, Ariana Huffington says, if you reach over and grab your phone the very first thing in the morning before you've just had some thoughts to yourself about your day, whatever you see on your phone is going to set the tone for you for the rest of the day. So whatever pops up, whatever news story, whatever Facebook feed, whatever notification hits your brain first is going to set your tone and the mood for you for the rest of the day. So resist the urge to grab it first thing in the morning. Take those few minutes to really just sit with yourself and have some thoughts for 2 or 3 minutes in bed, before you get out and start your day and grab your phone and start your processes. Self-care, it is important. The other thing that's important is self-reflection. And so while this is a morbid thought, I want you to have it anyway. If you died today, what would you regret not being able to do? If today was it, what would you look back and regret not having done or not been able to do? Of course, the real question that comes out of this is, Are the things that you're doing right now, are those the things you want to be doing? So consider these things. You know, if somebody is going to give a eulogy for you, what are they going to say when they stand up and talk about you and the type of person that you were and what you did? So here's some tips when you're thinking about what you'd like people to say about you if they were giving your eulogy. You want to be seen as someone who is intentional and mindful and vigilant about their choices. Do you spend time thinking about where you're spending your time? It's especially true when it comes to relationship investment and your use of time. Life on purpose doesn't happen in social media. Okay, it doesn't happen through an accumulation of stuff. It takes up, it happens on adventures with your family, even if that's an adventure in the backyard, or bonding over meals, taking the time to just sit at the table and have a meal and talk. You know, fighting that habits that breed stagnation can be one of the best things that you ever do for a happy look back on your life. So being intentional, being mindful, and being vigilant about the choices that you make every day. Love loudly, love deeply, and love fully. That is one of the most important things we can do in life. And if you have never read love languages, don't know your love language, or I highly suggest you do. I think the love languages are a beautiful thing to know about yourself and about those you love in life, but they also apply at work. Okay, I'm an acts of service girl myself. I really love when people do things on my behalf and I don't have to think about it. I don't have to spend any emotional labor on it. It's just done. The greatest things that my kids ever do for me, and if you've ever heard me speak before, you know this is true, is unload the dishwasher. There is nothing I love more than when I come home from work and they've unloaded the dishwasher without me asking. That is an act of service that says to me, they love me, they know I'm busy, they care about me, and they appreciate the things that I do for them. And that simple act of unloading the dishwasher is acknowledgement of all that I do for them to me, and it makes me feel loved. Now, my youngest, who's 10, is all about touch. She needs physical touch. If you sit down on the couch, she needs to be as close to you as humanly possible. I like to refer to her as hot glue because she is very hot and she's always stuck to me. If I'm still for a moment, she is right there with me. And while I'm not a big touchy-feely person myself, I know it is so important to her to give hugs and give kisses and love on her and snuggle with her and give her that time. It matters more to her than it matters to me and my pinky finger. Like, it is everything to her. And so that is why I know I need to honor that with her. So honoring the people that you love loudly, deeply, fully, in every way that you can, and in a way that they know that they will receive it, that they will feel that love, is so important. The other thing is give without hesitation or regret. Giving of your time and giving of yourself to the things you really care about. I'm not saying everything that everybody asks you to do. You can't do that, okay? But giving of your time to those efforts, those resources that really matter to you is so rewarding. Right now, when I think about where I need to spend my time, both of my children are in school. I spend my volunteer time doing PTA stuff because I want to be up at their school. I want to be serving where they are, and I want them to see my service and want them to be able to spend more time with me, and that's a way that I can do that. So when I think about organizations, boards, volunteer committees, places where I'm going to give of my time, when I think about it intentionally, you know, that's where I want to be right now because that's what's important to me and that's where my kids are. So when you can't say yes to everything. So when you're going to be giving of your time, give to those things that really have deep meaning for you. If you say yes to everything, you're taking a spot away from somebody else who could really be giving 100% of their time to that initiative where you only may be able to give 15% of your time. Acknowledging that downtime is important and scheduling it diligently. And I know that we have said this probably 2 or 3 times now, but I find that women have a very hard time with downtime. I find working women have an even harder time with downtime. For whatever reason, we guilt trip ourselves. We really guilt trip ourselves into feeling like we can't be still. We feel like, oh, I slept for my 6 to 8 hours. That's all the stillness I can have. If my eyes are open, I need to be busy and doing. And so really learning how to have downtime, scheduling it if you need it, and honoring that is so important to your mental and your physical health. And if you're more on the introverted side of things, it's doubly important for you. Having quiet, having silence, having time to think, having time alone is really how you recharge your batteries. And that is so important. And if you don't get it, you are not your best self. And that's when you start to feel run down and you start to feel overwhelmed, and you don't feel like you're being a good mom or a good employee or a good boss or all the things that you want to be, because you're forgetting to take care of yourself. Another thing to think about here, when thinking about what you want people to say about you at end of life, is choose an attitude of optimism and hope. You have 100% authority over your reactions. And let me tell you, it feels like today the world is nothing but people reacting. Reacting to posts, reacting to videos, reacting to this, reacting to that. You are the only person, and it's really one of the only things in life we really have 100% control over. You have 100% authority over your action and reaction to what people say and do. Responding with circumstances of hope rather than negativity or sadness, or pessimism, which I'll be the first to say I err a little bit more on the pessimistic side. I like to say it's realistic, but there are people who will argue with me about that. But trying to find that optimism and that hope can be so helpful to you and to those around you. I mean, sunshine and roses is not my default, and anybody who knows me knows that's true. But there are people who it is. And, I worry continuously about lots of things, but I find that when I find myself doing that, I try to go to people who tend to have that sunshine and roses perspective on things and ask them to help me reframe it. Tell me what you're thinking about this. Tell me how you read this. Tell me how you see this. Because when they reframe it and they phrase it, well, I'm really trying to look at it from this perspective or from that perspective, it just has a whole different meaning to me after talking to someone like that. So if you're not a sunshine and roses girl, like I'm not, have somebody in your life who is, who can help you see that silver lining, who can help you find that optimism and that hope. And invest in experiences to create lasting memories with your loved ones. I think we're finding now, especially being kind of trapped in at home and really not maybe being able to go all the places and do all the things that you had planned for this spring or this summer. I think we've really found that we knew those memories are important, but they're more important than ever. And you can create lasting memories without having to get on a plane. You can do things in your home with those you love and with those you work with. Create those lasting memories without having to travel to do it. And the last thing I'm going to say here before I move on is run your own race. Bottom line is we all just need to get off social media, but run your own race. Resist the temptation to compare your life to somebody else's. And I know we hear it all the time, and I'm going to say it again right now. When you compare yourself to somebody on Facebook, you are comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. And that is not fair to you. You are comparing your behind the scenes to everybody else's highlight reel. That's what Facebook is and Instagram is. It's just a highlight reel. And it's posed and it's photoshopped and it's created. It's not real life. So just run your own race. And the best news is it's never too late. It's never too late to redesign your life, to leave that legacy that you want to leave. So that when people get up and talk about you, they talk about you in a way that you had hoped they would when things are over. Staying refreshed in a fast-paced and ever-changing environment is so important. There are so many things weighing on us, and these are those domains of well-being: your physical, your social, your spiritual, your psychological. Trying to stay refreshed in this way can be difficult, and in all these areas can be difficult. And these are important areas and aspects of all of our lives. But a way to do that is through self-development. So having self-development, doing things that develop you, are just really, really a great way of taking care of yourself, okay? And that's what we've been talking about throughout this whole thing. You know, having some sort of work-life balance or work-life integration, whatever you want to call it, is really about taking care of yourself. And as this slide says, staying engaged through disappointments. You know, reframing disappointments as opportunities for you to build resilience within yourself. You know, expecting disappointments and failures as we move through different episodes in our careers can really help you persevere rather than feeling like you've been completely derailed off a plan. What seems catastrophic in the moment can prove to be a really big boon as we mature in our expertise and in our wisdom and in our experience. So finding how letting disappointments develop you as a person, make you a better person, build resilience in you, and make you stronger. Example I always share with this particular tip is, I don't know if you guys remember the singer-songwriter Sarah Bareilles. She had a song out called Love Song. And the whole song is about how she's not going to write a love song. And if you listen to the words of the song, you know, it's, I'm not going to write you a love song just because you asked for it, just because you need one. And if you first listen to it, you think, oh, she's talking about a boyfriend who knows she's a singer-songwriter and wants him to write her, or wants her to write him a love song about their relationship. It's not. She wrote that song because her record label told her they weren't going to put her album out without a love song on it. And so she wrote Love Song and talked about how she's not going to write them a love song just because they need it, just because they asked for one, because that's what they told her. And she took this huge disappointment of not wanting to put out an album full of love songs, being forced by her label to put one on there, and kind of twisting it and turning it in a way that allowed for her to still speak her truth and speak her voice, give them a little love song, a little winky of a love song on the album. And it's such a great story. And the next time you hear that song, you will hear it completely differently, knowing that it's not actually about a boyfriend. It's a note to her record label. But she really allowed that disappointment to make her more resilient and move forward in her career. Learning something new, spending time doing activities that spark your creativity outside of the office actually make you perform your work better. And a study according to the Journal of Occupational and Organizational Psychology, people who engage in creative activities outside of work actually perform better at work. Now, you don't have to go out and write a novel, all right? It's just small bits of creative work. It's a poem that you may work on with your kids. It's a drawing that you may do, we're just sketching at your desk, or during your lunch break. Little things of creativity that you do to reduce your stress. And it also helps you to fire up your creative problem-solving skills. So in fact, learning anything new, any kind of self-development, any kind of development that you do, really helps to boost your energy. Everybody tends to feel better when they know something or learn something new, whether that's something that has something to do with your work or not. So find a little something where you can be creative if you've lost that side of yourself, or try to find something you're really interested in that you want to learn more about, that maybe you want to become an expert in. And reclaim your strengths. Carson Tate, who is the founder of Working Simply, suggests that taking a look back at why you wanted your job in the first place. Was there something you hoped to accomplish or learn by taking this job? Was the company a good place to develop a skill or network or express a particular talent? If you've mastered what you set out to do, it's really natural if you feel bored. So recharge yourself by adding a new goal or for focusing more of your energy on doing what attracted you to the opportunity to begin with. So take a moment to reflect back on why you're in the job that you're in, or the career that you're in, or working at the company you're working for. Why did you go there to begin with? And if you've accomplished that goal, can you set a new one for yourself? And if you can't find something at your work, it doesn't mean you can't find something outside of work that can help you really recharge your energy as well. And express gratitude. Tell people thank you and that you appreciate them. We just don't do it enough. I hear people say to me all the time, why do I have to tell them thank you for doing their job? That's what I'm paying them for. I'm like, yeah, true, okay, yes. But the simple act of saying thank you goes so much further than we're even willing to acknowledge. Saying thank you, saying I appreciate you, saying I know that being on 20 million Zoom meetings a week is hard. And you want to know why it's hard? We posted an article on our Facebook page about it, but I want you to go and read after this. It's hard because we're looking at ourselves and we critique ourselves. And so you're on Zoom and you're constantly looking at your own photo or your own video image and you're like, is my hair okay? Like you're constantly assessing and evaluating and critiquing yourself internally. And that's why Zoom meetings are so exhausting, is because we've never stared at ourselves so much in our lives as we have for the last couple of months. But anyway, sidebar, tangent, sorry. Back to what we were talking about. Expressing gratitude is so important, and giving thanks is important. I know you've all heard of gratitude journals. Just writing those things down, especially when you are feeling stressed out or overwhelmed, finding appreciation and gratitude in those little things are so important. I swear I'm thankful when my car cranks in the morning. I'm thankful when my computer turns on. I mean, those are the little things that would literally derail your entire day. It's okay to find gratefulness and thankfulness in those small moments. And we need to be more cognizant of expressing our thankfulness and our gratefulness for those around us. And don't forget to recognize your own value and what you're bringing to the table. If you can't rely on your boss to thank you for your accomplishments, or to say, to share with others maybe what you've done, then share your own expertise. Toot your own horn. I'm fine with that. You should be too. You got this job, you got this role because you're good at it, because you do it well, because you're a value to this organization. So speaking about what you do well and sharing your areas of expertise is great. And I think we as women maybe don't do that as much as we should. I see, when talking about people applying for jobs, I see men apply for jobs they have absolutely no qualifications for whatsoever all the time. I rarely see women just take that risk. And I think it may be because men think, well, you never know. They may call me. They may decide to interview me. Who knows? I'm just going to apply. What could it hurt? And women see all these qualifications and they think, oh, no, I don't meet the 5 years experience here. I don't have this. And so they just don't apply. I also think we just don't toot our own horns enough. Share your expertise with those around you. Share it with people that you can help mentor or grow. Even when your expertise is maybe not in your job, maybe it's outside of your job. Maybe you're an awesome quilter and you want to show somebody else how to do that. Sharing these areas of expertise with those that you love in your family. My grandmother has a great love of cooking. And so my mother took all of her recipes and put them in a cookbook for us. And I inherited my grandmother's love of cooking, and I pull out that cookbook and I use it all the time. And I get great joy in using my grandmother's recipes and showing my 10-year-old how to do that. I like to cook. That's how I decompress. That's how I de-stress. That's what I do. So I like showing somebody else how to do it. It doesn't really have anything to do with my job, but it does allow for me to share expertise in an area with somebody else and feel that own personal gratitude and value about what I'm bringing to my family, to my organization, whatever it may be. The last thing I want to say before we go to questions here at the end is be who you are and say what you feel. Because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. You are here and you are bringing value to your workplace, to your family, to everyone you come in contact with. And balancing this idea of needing to balance things, it's not about balance, it's about integration. It's about bringing these two things together. I'm thankful that we run a department and we run an office where if we have to bring our children in for some reason, we do. And that's just part of work-life integration. You know, my kids have been to board meetings with me before if they have to, you know, I mean, I want them to know what I'm doing. I want them to know where I'm giving of my time. And I want to be able to integrate the things I love and the things that I do and try to bring these two things together so that I feel more sense of accomplishment, and I feel more of a sense of being okay with myself and my life and where things are at. I hope you heard something today that was helpful and useful to you. We've got a few minutes to take questions here. If you want to type it in the chat box, be happy to type it in the to read it out to the group and see if I can answer it. So I have a question that was sent to me privately that says, how do you prioritize honoring the ones you love and not compromising your need for self-care? That's huge. I know that we all have such a need to be there for our children, for our significant others, for our family members, but your need for self-care is what makes you available to them, okay? It's what's going to make you the best mother. It's what's going to make you the best sister. It's going to make you the best coworker. And if you need time to take care of yourself, they understand that. I think the issue comes is that we feel like we shouldn't say that. We shouldn't say, you know, I really can't, you know, I can't today, or I don't want to do that today because I really just need to spend some time alone. I need to spend some time by myself. You know, do you mind taking the kids for a couple of hours and going and doing this? Or, you know, no, I can't have a Zoom wine conference call with all my girlfriends tonight because I need some time to not be on Zoom. I need some quiet time by myself. I think we think people are going to mind more than they really do. I think we worry about hurting other people's feelings more than their feelings would have actually been hurt. I don't think anybody is going to fault you for saying, I need a little bit of time. And if you have the opportunity to have a couple of hours, if you have a whole day, God bless you. You know, binge, watch some Netflix, whatever it may be. But asking for time for yourself, whether it's a couple of hours or a day, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think you give the people around you a little more credit than maybe we do. And let them know you need that time, and they'll give it to you. They really will. They just don't realize you need it. Any other questions out there that I can give a shot at answering? And trust me, I'm not perfect at any of this. Nobody is. But what today is about is just a reminder that you matter, and how you take care of yourself and how you feel about what you're doing is important. All right, I don't see any more questions. Amy or Troy, do you see anything?
Not seeing anything, but the good news is Shana is around and available. So if something does come up and you do have a question, I'm sure she would be happy to respond. This couldn't have been more timely. This was, I'm over here diligently, you know, writing notes, and for me personally, this really, it hit home today. So thank you, Shana, and thanks to everybody here. I mean, this is a step in the right direction, taking time to invest in yourself, and I'm sure a lot of people were able to take pieces of this, takeaways, and will be able to apply it in life in its current state. So Shana, thank you for always
Absolutely.
being willing to share your tidbits with us. Ladies, we want to do more of this. We want to know what is of interest to you. And I want to mention, I want to thank Synovus and Global Payments, because they were the founding supporters of this Women in Business initiative, and are still continuing to support our efforts even as we do them virtually. So a huge shout out to them for their support. But again, we want to do more and more of this. So if there are topics that you want to see us cover, please send those to Troy, and we'll work on those next Women in Business subject matters and opportunities. And again, just events in general. If there are things that we could cover outside of just Women in Business, please share your ideas. And again, the Leadership Institute is a tremendous asset to this community. We are so fortunate to have them here and the services that they offer. So if you've got an opportunity to engage with them, even inside of your workplace, to help your employees grow personally and professionally, I highly recommend reaching out to Shana and the team at the Leadership Institute. So Shana, thank you again.
Absolutely, thank you.
Today, and I'm going to let you all go so you can go get your stuff done. Have a great and productive rest of the week, and we'll see you all very soon.